I keep suggesting to Tea Partiers, stop training all your attention on the government so much while keeping your back turned to the culture. If you want to keep America from going into a ditch, you need to pull the cultural keys to stop the ignition with the power-drunk government at the wheel. And oh, what a kick in the nads of the liberal narrative it would have been, and a shock to the common culture if that rally would have zeroed in on the zero with the Confederate battle flag. That dude should have left that rally practically butt naked, wearing nothing but that Confederate battle flag as a diaper.
I think what's happening. Propaganda.
Why wasn't that guy confronted and bounced? If this guy was a Marine, any vet there should have been really insulted. I'm guessing. Because while vets were getting maimed and or killed to defend this flag, this dude was fighting for this flag. Too many miss the opportunity to blast holes in the main weapons liberals use against you. And I'm well aware that liberals will twist the news anyway to make it look like he was welcome. Like that video where Rachel Maddow tried to make it look like a white supremacist was welcome at a tea party. But she edited out the part where they confronted him and told him he wasn't welcome. But so what? Real character is doing the right thing even if nobody's watching. That's biblical right there. It doesn't matter if the mainstream media isn't gonna report it. Do what's honorable anyway. Now, I totally understand that the people there were deeply hurt about what this administration has done. That was their focus. And they just weren't paying attention to the guy with the Confederate battle flag. The problem is that this administration is able to get away with doing the things that hurt you and American people in general because of things like this, which gives them leverage on accusing you of being racist, which hurts your credibility and keeps people from wanting to associate with the policies you support. And if you're among those people who want to send me an email or leave some comment trying to defend this flag, don't bother. I get enough backward-thinking emails from liberals as it is. And disappointing doesn't even begin to describe people who want to crawl up in the conservative tent wanting to defend the Confederate battle flag, claiming things like, this flag doesn't represent slavery, it represents states' rights. The states' rights to do what? Own slaves. Thank you. And I have deep disgust against people who value states' rights over human rights. What's also weak and childish to these people is that they try to mitigate slavery in the South by saying they had slaves in the North too. Y'all sound as pathetic as liberals and Obama, who try to transfer the stigma that's rightfully theirs onto someone else to justify their actions. Why not just own up to it and take that personal responsibility you neo-Confederate libertarian types are always yammering about, and own up to the fact that the Confederacy at its core was about slavery? I know libertarians are gonna tell me how offended they are, but sorry, when I get people sending me messages defending the Confederate flag, they're almost always Lincoln-hating neo-Confederate libertarians. If you're not one of those libertarians, you should be mad at them, not me. The Democrat Party is still the same. They wanted to control people and make laws that protected their ability to subjugate people then, and they're doing that today. And these neo-Confederate libertarians are a huge part of the reason why many people think conservatives are a bunch of racists. Because most of the people you find who defend the Confederacy aren't conservatives. They're libertarians who maintain a neo-Confederate position from the Confederacy that was represented by the Democrat Party. Libertarians are so zealous about taxes that they don't care what happens to other Americans, as long as they don't get taxed for it. I don't care about slavery, as long as I don't get taxed for it. Proof positive of that is when they keep saying that the Civil War wasn't about slavery. It was about taxes. Shut up. I doubt very seriously that while the KKK was lynching blacks, they were saying, "Dadgummit, we're tired of how much you Negroes keep taxing us." And when they were lynching white Republicans, it wasn't about taxes. It was because Republicans, the abolitionists, fought to free slaves and were considered race traitors. And maybe y'all haven't noticed this, but if it's one thing Democrats cannot stand, it's people whom they consider traitors to their race. And if you go against the Democrat Party, you're a traitor to your race. Malcolm X, however, said, if you support the Democrat Party, you're a traitor to your race. and a political chump. And if you have any intellectual honesty, you'll consider what I'm saying. Democrats hate blacks who vote Republican and accuse us of being traitors to our race. Republican Hispanics are traitors to their race. Republican women are traitors to their gender. And this started with Democrats hating white Republicans because they considered them traitors to their race and would execute them. The Democrats prove over and over again that they use race and sex to divide people. But you think the Democrat-represented Confederacy that founded the KKK was going around lynching people because of taxes? The whole issue of slavery goes right over neo-Confederate libertarian heads, as all they care about is taxes. I don't care about abortion as long as I don't get taxed for it. I don't care about the effects of legalizing drugs as long as I don't get taxed for it. I don't care about the effects of legalizing prostitution as long as I don't get taxed for it. I don't care about the redefinition of marriage and its infringement on the church's right to free religious exercise as long as I don't get taxed for it. At the core, libertarians like all the things that liberals like, as long as they don't get taxed for it. Whereas liberals think that people's income should be taxed for it. I can't tell y'all how many times I've heard libertarians callously say that slavery would have eventually ended and that the slaves would have eventually had their freedom purchased. Well, I'm sure that's an easy day to wait for when you're not at the cracking end of a whip tearing off your flesh or all the other atrocities that came along with being a slave. And if there's anything that I hate about being a Republican, it's these neo-Confederate types who are often libertarians who defend the Confederacy and attach themselves to the Republican Party, when it was the Democrats who represented the Confederacy. These are people who make it really hard for Republicans to shake the racist stigma that's wrongfully placed on them. These people are totally selfish and do not care about the damage they're doing to conservative Republicans. These people are a big part of the reasons why Republicans like myself get called an Uncle Tom and a house Negro every day, because they think I'm defending you people, and I'm not. I personally can't stand the way you people think. I'm defending conservative values that many minorities actually relate to, but they don't want to be associated with these values because they don't want to be associated with conservatives whom they think are a bunch of racists. A prejudice influenced upon them by Democrats, but substantiated by these neo-Confederate libertarians, leeching off the Republican tent. Again, I'm not talking about all libertarians. I'm talking specifically about neo-Confederate libertarians or other so-called right-leaning posers who have defended this flag when a real American defends this flag. You don't pledge allegiance to two flags. Liberals try to claim that Democrats were the conservatives back then. This is a cowardly attempt to keep from owning up to the Democrats' bigoted track record. You think the Democrats back then were conservative just because they were for states' rights? That doesn't make them conservative. Taking liberties with other people's God-given rights under states' rights is liberal, not conservative. Or you think that the KKK is right-wing because they claim to be Christian. That doesn't make you right-wing or conservative. Because just as Democrats take liberties with how they interpret the Constitution, they do the same with the Bible, neither of which adds up to being conservative. Using God's name to slander and murder is taking liberties and violating 3 commandments right there. How is that conservative with interpreting the Bible? It's actually taking gross liberties. Now, as it is, the guy in the picture looks like a plant. And if we conservatives were so welcoming of racists, we'd be like, right on, brother. But thread after thread shows that conservatives reject this guy and speculate that he's a plant. New-looking boots? Do good old boys wear brand new boots to an all-day rally? New-looking Confederate flag that's awkwardly big while everyone else has a small American flag? The dude's outfit looks fresh from the wardrobe department of Hollywood smoke and mirrors. And if this was such normal behavior with us right-wingers, shouldn't there have been more than one of those Confederate battle flags instead of just one? But whether this guy is real or not, the vast majority of conservatives reject this. And if liberals are so offended by the Confederate battle flag, why do y'all vote for the party that flew it in their fight to keep slavery? Oops, I meant their fight for states' rights. I'm Alfonso Rachel with ZoNATION, and I know I'm gonna get emails from people who support this flag saying you need to get educated about what this flag means. Yeah, the Democrats who flew that flag never wanted people like me to be educated in the first place. And now the Democrat Party has taken control over the education system, and part of their objective is to control how blacks are educated for their purposes. So I'm not really interested in what you think you can educate me with. Oh, what a kick in the nads.